part of the Boundless Audio Podcast Network.
Hello, welcome to the Artist Pivot Podcast. My name is Ayana Major-Bay, and I am an actress, voiceover artist, mentor, and your host. This show is a bi-weekly conversation highlighting pivots and life lessons from the perspective of artists, those who work in and around the arts, and arts educators. For those listening who don't consider themselves artists, you can pivot too. Everyone possesses the ability to do so. You just have to be reminded sometimes. All of our life lessons have taught us to be better pivoters, and it is my goal to share these life lessons to guide and inspire others. Here is this week's episode. All right, y'all. So today on the podcast, I have Blue joining me. And hailing from Brooklyn, Blue is a podcaster, photographer, and brand consultant that started off as an independent music artist. He has taken his different experiences and pulled them together for conversations on his podcast, Blue Dope, which has featured the likes of Selling Tampa's Sharelle Rosado, Sistas Devale Ellis, and Claire Sulmers of Fashion Bomb Daily, just to name a few. Y'all, welcome Blue to the podcast.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. How you feeling today?
I'm good. I can't say, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Amen. All right. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. So my first question to you would be, if I sent you a text right now and said, hey, Blue, how you doing? How you feeling? What's going on? But you could only respond in emojis only.
Okay.
What would you send me?
That's easy for me because I only use blue emojis. So I think I'd go with the freeze face. That's my signature, the freeze face.
Okay, great. I love it. Yes, I
And
love it.
'cause
The
I'm
freeze face.
chilling, I'm cool,
Yeah.
blue everything.
Blue everything. I'm here for it. And I don't think anybody's ever sent me that, so thank you for sending me that imaginary text.
Oh no, I have it preset everywhere. So people get that from me. That the diamonds, just blue everything.
Oh, I love it. I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it.
That's
Yes.
it.
So thank you for that. So I'm excited to talk to you today because you have made many pivots in your life and in your career, and I want you to share them. And so I know that you started off as an independent music artist. You know, you're from Brooklyn, and then you went to corporate America, and now you're a podcaster and a photographer and like a brand consultant. What? Where? How did you get to where you are right now?
I mean, I literally do everything. I always joke I got 8 jobs, but
Mhm,
I think like a lot of the kids in Brooklyn, you kind of grow up and you get to see Biggie, you get to see
mhm,
Jay-Z, even newer days, Fabulous. The young kids got Pop Smoke that they got to see,
mhm,
and you look to emulate that. And I think in some of the neighborhoods in Brooklyn, you almost feel like you don't have as many options to kind of get out, right?
mhm,
And the beautiful thing about life is as you take the journey, you start hopefully getting exposed to different things
mhm.
where you realize there are other opportunities and you can do different things. But for me, I fell in love with music at an early age. And I mean, I was 11, 12 years old, writing and recording by 18, 19.
Mhm,
Um, and in my journey as an artist, I'm talking like early 2000s, I
mhm.
ended up just being in different studios, recording, being exposed to different people. And I realized that not only did I like the art form as just a rapper, but I wanted to do everything a rapper was involved with.
Okay.
So that meant for me, all right, well, artists need photographs, right? Like photographers, okay, videographers make the videos.
Mhm,
You got publicists, you got managers, you have people interviewing the artists. There's all these different things that an artist actually has to go through once you're an artist. And going through it and being exposed to it, I just wanted to do everything.
okay.
So I mean, I literally did. The first thing I did, I picked up, a camera. I probably spent about $1,500 because I looked at it this way: if I buy my own camera, I don't
Mhm.
have to pay a photographer for photo shoots, right? I
Right.
can just edit the pictures myself. I knew how to do that. I had friends that were already models or in the industry, and the first thing that happened was my girlfriend, who's actually my wife now.
Mhm.
said, "Dude, you need to break even. Like, what are you doing with that?" And
Mm.
and I never even thought about that as a business, but definitely hip hop really started me.
Okay. That's where you started, was in hip hop. So,
Just yeah.
with that, so did you I don't wanna say abandon, but did you completely, like, put down your music career and was like, "Okay, I'm gonna focus on, the photography and the videography of the music industry?"
I never really wanted to, and I think on that journey of wanting to do both sides of everything, I ended
Mhm.
up interning over at Bad Boy, and the cool experience about that, I worked for a gentleman named Quasi Azare in the new media department. I mean, like social media had just came out,
Mhm.
and my job was I literally spent like a year of my life as Diddy on MySpace when that was a thing, right? I
Yes.
was Diddy. So like it's kind of funny. People say, "Hey, I'm DMing this artist. They're going to see it, and I know it's them." A lot of the time, it's just people like it's interns and stuff managing these social media accounts, and it's funny that people still to this day think it's the actual artist that actually controls their own social media a lot of the time. But no, I was
Mhm.
Diddy, and at the time, it was something where I was trying to just go full time at Bad Boy, pick up as much as I could there. I learned about trademarking there.
Mhm.
I learned about social media there, right? We had like the number at the Tom from MySpace. We could call Tom if we wanted, like, yo, Tom, something's wrong
Okay.
with Diddy's page. We need help. And
Okay.
but I'd say the funds weren't there, right? And then as
Right.
an artist, I was kind of climbing. I was doing shows with like guys like Cypher Sounds and
Mhm.
K Slay, God rest his soul. I started to bubble enough independently, but
Mhm.
as much as the recognition was there and I was rubbing shoulders, the money wasn't there. So
Mhm.
if the money wasn't there and I couldn't get, I graduated college. I did go to college. I went to Hofstra University. I went to Temple for a little bit too in Philly.
Hey, come on, Temple. I went for a year and then transferred.
Oh, so that's both of us. We
That's
you
both
live
of us.
Did you live in JNH?
Yes, I did.
I lived on the top of Johnson, 11th floor, no AC in the summer, just super hot.
Listen, okay, and those fire drills, having
Oh,
to climb down
crazy.
those stairs,
Yo, fourth meal though was live though. Fourth meal.
it sure was, it
Shouts to fourth
sure
meal.
was.
That's funny. So no, so I mean, I transferred from Temple to Hofstra, and but so I finished college and everything, and I just wanted to work in the music industry, and I was trying as a rapper, as a DJ manager, as a everything, and
Okay.
the money just wasn't coming in. I wasn't seeing it. So, you start at that point where you realize you don't have benefits because you're not
Mm,
covered by your parents anymore,
uh-huh,
um, and all of this other stuff. And I had to just do the grown up thing and go out to corporate America and go knocking on their door and say, "Hey, you guys have the money because the money's not over here as much as I want it in this place. It's not over here." So, in that sense, at first, I didn't abandon the music, right?
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because the beautiful thing about joining corporate America and having those real checks coming in, it provided a space for me to invest in my music and also buy my first camera, that $1,500 camera that my girlfriend said, "What the hell are you buying?"
Right,
Right?
right.
But I had the funds to do so. And I think if anything, my content had to change musically, and that put me in a weird place, right? Because it wasn't
Mhm,
I progressed as a person, and I wasn't this kid from Brooklyn anymore. I saw options. I hung out in Philadelphia. I hung out in Long Island, and I understood what the business world was like. And being exposed to all of that, I said, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur now with this
mhm,
photography too. So I'm going to do the corporate gig, but I'm also going to do photography and fund everything I want. And yeah, so the dream didn't die at first right there with music. It didn't stop.
mhm. Mhm. Understood, understood. So there's actually a couple points I wanna, like, pick up on that you said that, like, your music changed because you
Yeah.
changed as a person, so that I always say, like, art reflects life.
Yes.
So, like, your
Yes.
life had changed, you had changed, and you're like, "Oh, now my music is changing because
Yeah.
I've been exposed to more things." And then also using your corporate job to go, "Okay, I'm gonna fund what I wanna do," do. Because I know there are times that we're like as artists, you're like, "I have to go work a corporate job right now," but you were like, "Yeah, I do, but I'm gonna use my time here wisely."
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, I love Pop Smoke and he's a kid from around the corner from where I grew up. And
Mhm,
it's like imagine if Pop had went to college and went to and seen other things. because at the time when I was his age, 18,
Mhm.
19 years old, I saw the same things. My music was sounding the same.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, if drill rap was around in, the early 2000s when I was on the scene, I would have been a drill rapper. But,
Mhm,
at the end of the day, being exposed to those things, you stop telling the stories of that only neighborhood you knew, and you start changing up your stories, and you talk about more of the universal things like love, and
mhm.
things that everyone could deal with and understand, because the truth is, even today, not everyone's out here selling drugs and being around gang members and stuff, but unfortunately that's what everyone raps about. They're not
Mhm,
rapping about anything else, and
mhm.
I think, honestly, I think it's a lane. I feel a lot of the time I'm too old to take that lane, but I think it's kind of an open lane. If someone went into those spaces and spoke
Mhm.
about some different things, even now, that there might even be an opportunity because people want to hear different stuff.
Exactly, exactly. You're never too old for anything.
You're right. I mean, they say rap is a young man's game, but I think people like the guys over at Griselda. I mean, they're still talking about random stuff that a lot of rappers in the '90s spoke about, but the guys over at Griselda, they speak. They came in the game later, and
Mhm.
that's inspiring in itself.
Right, right, that's it, that's it. So then my next question to you would be, how did you then transition from being in corporate America and then you're like, "Okay, I've had enough. I'm done. We're done. I gotta go do what I want to do." What was that like for you?
I'm still there. I never
Oh,
left. I never
okay.
left, and I think I don't necessarily promote that because it's not my brand. It's not my own
Mhm,
brand. But when I'm there, I'm in those walls. That's the brand that I push where I am. But outside of that, I push my own brands as a
mhm,
definitely as an entrepreneur, and I think there's a beauty in that, because once
mhm,
you can find something that you can do that doesn't take away from the other, then you've really found not necessarily even a side hustle, just a different career, something else that could push you. And for me, like photography, event photography specifically, it was a blessing because that's weekends, right?
mhm,
Like
mhm.
no one's, people have weddings every day of the week nowadays, right?
Yeah,
People have different events, but I'm not a corporate events guy. I'm not that guy.
right.
And you almost with photography, you get to pick and choose. I'm not shooting for magazines that are like, all right, we need you at 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning and you're shooting until 2 p.m. No, I'm doing stuff that's on Saturdays and Sundays on my schedule when I'm available, and that's the craft. So I could easily do both without
Mhm.
a problem because of that.
Mhm. Understood, understood. Okay, so that's what I was gonna ask you, like, finding the balance between the 2, and it's kind of like you said, it's not a side hustle, it's now, in essence, parallel careers.
Yeah, and I mean, they say you got your 9 to 5s and you got your 5 to 9s, your 10s, whatever time you stop. I mean, I'm a person, um, definitely very inspired by a Kobe Bryant who always went to sleep late and woke up early, right?
Mhm,
Because you still want to fit in time with your family. You want to fit in time, everything else you need to do. That might mean I might have to go to sleep at 1 a.m., but wake up at 6, and I'm fine
mhm,
with that. And I run off my own energy with that.
mhm, mhm. Understood, understood. So then, along the way, along your life's journey, because it's not done, you still have more to do and more to learn and probably more to develop and be like, "And I'm gonna create this now." Are there any, life lessons that you are like, "Oh, I learned that one really quick," or you're still learning a lesson?
I mean, I'm definitely, we're always learning, but I
Mhm,
think the one thing I've noticed, like really on a personal note, is, your family is really first. Like
mhm,
your family is gonna hold you down when nobody else holds you down. I think over time, friends change, people change, and really, as someone who was in the industry early, like young in my 18, 19, 20, and stepping away to build a family life, but then saying, "Hey, I want to come back with podcasting and
mhm,
getting mixy in the scene again." The industry is, there's a lot of fake friends in the industry, right? So
mhm,
it's something
mhm.
where you can't hold your breath with those folks. You could love who you love and create new friendships, new bonds. It's all good, but at the end of the day, like no one's gonna hold you down like your family.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've had and I've seen. Like, that's my support system.
Right, right. Understood, understood. And I think a lot of artists are learning that as well. Like your family's always going to be there for you, no matter what the industry does. But I actually have a question now for you because you said to kind of step away and,
Hmm.
be with your family, develop a family, and then come back to the industry. How was that for you? Because I know firsthand friends in the industry who are like, but if I leave, will I be able to come back? Or if I have a family, could I come back to the industry? Or should I just stay in the industry and not, develop my personal and my family
Yeah.
side?
I mean, what's crazy was, I mean, by the time I was 30, I really stopped like recording music. And
Okay.
it was something where it left that gap. Like I yearned for the
Mhm,
industry. I'm someone, I like being mixy. I like
mhm,
meeting industry people and having these conversations with them and having these stories told and sharing stories and just, oh, meeting this, oh, you're responsible for this. That's cool.
mhm,
You did this behind the scenes. I love that. I love just being out and about and being
mhm,
part of that. And I had to slow down because I was like, all right, I'm going to get married. I got
mhm,
married. I needed to buy a house. I
mhm,
needed to have kids. I needed to do all those things because those are still the things where growing up, those are also the other things I wanted, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
and for me, some people can do both, right? Sometimes it doesn't even happen that way. Sometimes people they're too, especially with rap, right? You're too much in the industry where all that other stuff doesn't work out as smooth as it could.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
for me to be the best husband, best father, best provider, best, caretaker, homeowner, etc., I had to step away.
mhm,
But with that yearn of just wanting to be part of the industry, I said there has to be a way for me to get back in and actually use my contacts because I had this full phone book of all these names that I can't really reach out to. And
uh-huh.
the truth is, some people just stop reaching out to you because they don't need you anymore. And
Mm,
that's the fake part of the industry. Everyone's friends with each other when you need something from somebody. And
mhm.
even outside the industry, it's like that too, right? People have friends because that friend is the plug for this. That friend is this, right?
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
it's all good as long as it's reciprocated. As
Yes.
long as it's reciprocated. But what ends up happening for me when I left, a lot of those friendships, they just weren't the same. They weren't there because
Mhm,
there was no need. There was nothing for us to give back to each other. So that meant that our relationships were surface level. It was only industry based. It was nothing deeper than that, right?
mhm, mhm.
But coming back into the industry in the form of podcasting, I've been able to open up that phone book
Yeah.
and have some of these people's like the people I've crossed paths with that I know have great stories. It's like come share this story. I know people will learn from it.
Okay.
Um so that was definitely the key for me and the way for me to get back in. And I had to be strategic because when I thought about the idea of podcasting, I said I wanted to do it in a way where I could get back into the industry, but almost reflect the new me, right? It's let's talk
Ooh.
more business. Let's talk about these other things because I want to know how you got to the coin, right? And
Mhm.
I think that's the point. I love podcasts like yours because it's all about the how. I don't care about people just living their life if I don't understand how to get to that that's lifestyle they got. I
Right.
want that lifestyle too. So share the keys. Like each one teach one, we all move forward. That's my mantra.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, I love that, and you actually answered the next question. I was gonna ask you how you got to podcasting, but it's that I love that you were like, "I wanna show the reflection, the new me. Let's talk
Yes.
about this." I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's like let's talk business. Let's talk this money because that's what I do on a daily basis. I'm definitely become a businessman as an entrepreneur. Whether I'm speaking to another photographer, someone in corporate America, someone that's been in the music industry. There's all these different places that I've touched, so I'm
Mhm.
able to go really detailed. Like I might have someone on who's doing talking about e-commerce, and they're surprised that I use their phrases, right? I might talk about
Mm.
search engine optimization and what they're doing there and their ROI in those places and just the logistics on them. They don't necessarily expect it, but I've been through all these different like layers in my life that I
Yeah,
could talk to all day.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So you're pulling information from all of these different aspects of your life. And you're like, "Oh, I'm here for this full conversation."
Definitely.
And you're not even, "Oh, you know what that means?" Like, "Yes, yes, I do actually know what that means."
Very a lot.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, yes. I love that, I love that. So, I have one question, but another one just popped into my head randomly. So, I wanna know, what events do you actually like, shooting as a photographer? Like, is there anything that you prefer?
I mean, when I started photography, I just wanted to shoot other rappers and
Okay.
models. Like that's what I got into it for, and it took me down a completely different road. I
Mhm,
mean, once I was shooting other independent rappers, and then my friends realized I had a camera, and it
mhm.
became, "Can you take pictures of my kid's birthday party?" I'm like, "Well, how much you gonna pay me? Maybe I'll do it." And
Right.
from from that, it became okay, sweet 16s, and I'm like, I guess I could shoot a sweet 16. And people kind of said, all right, well, my cousin's getting married, can you shoot this wedding? I
Mm,
guess I can. I never did. And I think by the time I got married in 2012, so it's gonna be 10 years for me and my wife this year. And after that point, that's the moment where I realized I can probably shoot weddings because I lived the day. So now that I've lived the wedding, I
ah.
understood it like completely from the inside out. So now I can speak to brides and grooms and say, you know what, let's do it this way. Here's how we're gonna flow with this. And I became predominantly a wedding photographer around
Mhm,
2015 and 2016. And the interesting thing about photography is that they say once you kind of pick like your niche area, that's where you'll
mhm,
succeed. Because
mm,
photography is so broad. People go outside and do architecture. People go outside and shoot birds, right?
mhm.
How they make money from that? They probably sell it to magazines and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like I'm a people person. I know so many people that I have this beautiful lead list or lead source of just
Mhm,
the people I know. And I dove deep into the wedding photography scene, and that's my thing now. And it has the biggest ROI
mhm.
as a photographer, right? And I can shoot a birthday party for a few hours, get paid a few hundred, or I could spend a day shooting a wedding and make a few thousand.
Mhm,
And that's
mhm.
why I said, you know what, this is actually pretty good. The monies are here, the people are here. It's fun because it's a social thing.
Right,
Wedding photographers, we're event photographers, and we're portrait photographers because we do all of it all day throughout that day.
right. That's
Yeah,
oh, I love that. So
yeah.
1, first of all, congratulations to you and your wife, 10
Thank
years.
you, thank
Yes.
you.
And then 2, I just love the fact that you were like, "Oh, I had to experience my own wedding," and then it
Yeah.
clicked. It made sense. "Oh, I can shoot your wedding. This makes complete sense to me now."
Exactly, and I mean, there's a lot of photographers that not aren't necessarily married that shoot weddings, right? But for
Uh-huh,
me,
yeah.
it's that personal touch. When I speak
Mm,
to another bride and groom, I can speak to that day and how it felt for me, and I understand that, so I could speak to how a photographer can relieve some of that day, even right.
mhm,
And I think that's
mhm,
a special touch. Why once brides and grooms speak to me, they kind of move forward because I have those extra touches. And the crazy part is, as a wedding photographer, like any wedding photographer that's been in it for a long time, we can
mhm.
be wedding planners. We can do it all because we live the day from getting ready till the end of the reception.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Right. You're like, "I'm
yeah.
gonna add wedding planner to my resume, just so y'all
Man,
know."
my, my wife is already hopping in the game with that too. So
Yes. I
yeah,
love y'all gonna be a full package. I love it.
that's it.
I love it. I'm so here for it. Okay, so this next one's a two-part question. So, you wrote down for me in our like pre-interview questions that a nugget of wisdom is owning your own brand before you attempt to promote it. So, my
Big
first
time.
question is, how did you get your brand, like your name Blue, your brand, all of it? How did you come up with
Mhm.
it? And then the second half of that question is like breaking down what you just said about owning it fully before you attempt to promote it.
Yeah, so no, I think it goes right back to Bad Boy. And I remember stepping into the offices and they said, all right, you're going to be Diddy on MySpace, but we got two different MySpaces. We got regular Diddy,
Mhm.
and, he was a Puff Daddy at the time.
Yeah.
And then we have P. Diddy. And I said, why do we have Diddy and P. Diddy? They said, well,
Right.
Diddy doesn't own the trademark for Diddy in Europe. there's someone else in Europe with the name Diddy. So in Europe, Diddy is P Diddy. I don't know if that's still the case in
Oh,
2022, but at the time, like in the mid 2000s, he didn't own that trademark.
okay.
So what ended up happening for me, my name was actually Blue Steels. Like that,
Mhm.
that was my rap name, real
Okay.
street. Like my, it was a product of my environment type of situation.
Yeah.
And as I was progressing, two things happened. Number one, because I was so involved in the industry, I found out there was a DJ named Blue Steel, and he worked at
Okay.
Def Jam. And I was like, you know what? I gotta go talk to a lawyer,
Mhm.
because what ended up happening, we started getting emails crossed. He would get emails that were supposed to be for me, and I would get emails that were supposed to be for him. And what really
Wow.
triggered me was on Neo's first album, he came out and in his thank yous, he thanked Blue Steel. And people was just like, yo, he thanking you? He thanking, and he was talking about,
Huh.
I knew he was talking about the other dude. I didn't know Neo. I had
Yeah.
met him before, but I didn't know him.
Mhm.
So I wasn't going to be thanked in his album, right? So I went to a lawyer. Shout out to Trademark Robert Lopez, and he said, "You know what? Y'all both dead wrong. There is a rock band in the Midwest named Blue Steel." So he was actually the one who goes, yo, why don't we just name you, like, go with Blue? I was like,
Mhm.
Blue, just like that's it. Like there's nothing more, no last name, like
Right.
McLovin, just
Right.
Blue.
Right.
And I'm like, that's available? And he's like,
Mhm.
yeah. So we filed the trademark, and then like 8, 9 months it came through. But
Okay.
if I hadn't worked for Bad Boy, I wouldn't have even understood what that meant. And the
Mm.
crazy part is, my guy Trademark Rob, he actually trademarked Nas when Nas moved from Columbia Records to Def Jam. And Nas had
Mhm.
already dropped 4 albums. He had already been in the industry. And
Okay.
when he came to Def Jam was like, yo, you don't have your name trademarked? And the funny thing about it is, there is this common law, right? Where common
Mhm.
law will say, all right, well, you can never open Jay-Z Fried Chicken or Funkmaster Flex Fried Chicken. You can't do that, because common law says those names are so strong and popular that you can't just eat off of their names.
Mhm.
But at the same time, even a guy like Nas, his name is Nasir. Just because your real name is Nasir does not mean you own the trademark to your name. You do not own your
Ah.
name. And people don't understand that when they come into the industry, right?
Mhm.
So to go into the second part of it, you should always do your research to see if someone owns a name, a business that you're thinking of.
Mhm.
Um, Even I always, in my, on the brand consultant side, I'm gonna give a free nugget right here.
Mhm.
One of the things I always tell people when they're thinking about creating this new brand, this new business, check it out. What's the .com? Is the .com available?
Mhm.
Is the Instagram at available? Is the at Gmail available? Are all these different things available? If they are, and there's no trademark on it, run with it. That's
Mhm.
yours. Own it. Own that brand. And then before you even start marketing it, you should own it already. And the truth is, even in my early 20s, at I remember I had a record label called Calcutta Entertainment, and we would promote parties,
Mhm.
and it would be in New York City. And we decided, you know what? We have enough ties at Temple. Let's
Yeah.
do something at Philly. And my business partner's cousin, he ended up going to Temple. And then what ended up happening was, I guess people in Philly saw our name and they decided to steal it. And they were trying to promote as Calcutta Entertainment, which is crazy. But
What?
when you own things, now
Yeah.
you can say, push the brakes
Mhm.
on it. You
Uh-huh.
guys got to stop, cease and desist. And I'm waiting for someone big enough to say I want to be Blue, and maybe they could buy my trademark from me, because you could be Blue whoever you are, right?
That's
You could
true.
be Blue whatever. You could last name it. You could put something in front of it, but you can't be Blue unless you see me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. And that's the beauty of trademarking, and working for a guy like Sean Diddy Combs.
Mhm, mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I love that so much. Yes, thank you for sharing that. So, I guess my last question to you would be, do you have any other advice or, like, nuggets of wisdom or just something that you're like, "I really need to share this with someone," whoever, if they're an artist, they're not an artist, but someone who is, thinking of pivoting or changing careers or even having a parallel career because you are clearly proof that is something that can be done?
Start right now. I think we are our own biggest blocks,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We have these ideas, and I'm a guy that's full of $1 million ideas.
Mhm,
Sometimes I never put it into fruition. Sometimes I pass it along to other people because I know that
mhm,
they can make more of it than I could.
mhm,
But don't, whatever you're thinking of, like if you're an artist, put that song out. Like
mhm,
you might have this track where you're just holding it, waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment, but now is the best moment. Put out that track, release it, let people hear it, let it do what it does. If it's a hit, it's a hit, it's gonna flow. If you have a business idea, if you have one or two clients, it's still a business, right? You
mhm.
got to start somewhere. You got to put it out. Until you put it out, you'll never know if it'll be successful. And guess what? You'll never know if it won't be successful. And once, if it's not successful, you just pull it back, redo it. I mean, even with my podcast, right? This idea for me to get back in the industry happened in 2017, and it
Mhm.
didn't work at first
Mm.
because it was a lot of work for me being talent and trying to be post production. And it took a few years for some producers that I knew from my rap career to come
Ah.
to me and say, "Hey, we're in the podcast scene now." Shouts to Major Theory, and for them to say, "Look, we used to record you all those years. You did like 100 tracks in our studios. We like your podcast. We know we could bring it more to life." And that's what happened. It allowed me to be talent and leave the all the other stuff to them. But if I didn't put it out in the air that I was doing a podcast, as low listened as it was, it wouldn't had made other people realize I was moving different. And once they saw how it was working, they're like, no, they gravitated towards it and they pulled it up to push it higher. So whatever it is, just put it in the air, just do it. And that's the biggest thing I've learned overall. Just do it. Put it out. Start now. Start today. Start yesterday. Trademark it. Holler at me if you need the brand consulting because I can help you with that foundation.
Mhm,
Right. And
mhm.
then I'm gonna take your pictures. We're gonna make your press kit. We're gonna do the whole run. It's a one-stop shop over here with Blue.
Mhm. Oh, I love it. I love it so much, yes, and that's
Yeah.
it, like, you put it out, and then, of course, realizing, "Oh, this is a lot," but
Yeah.
because you put it out, the people you knew were like, "Wait a minute, Blue, I think we can help you," and then here
Exactly.
you are, but if you didn't put it out,
That's it. It
y
would just be it would just be another thought. And with thoughts, sometimes you regret the what ifs. What if I did this? You don't
yeah,
know. Like I podcasting might not make me a millionaire like some podcasters are making from it, right? But unless I put it out there, you don't know what it's gonna turn into. So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, you take the first step, and then everything else falls into place.
Man, the first wedding I shot, I should not have shot. Probably should have had shot the first five. I should have been a second shooter for a wedding. Instead, I was the main guy for like the. And it took learning those to be able to say, I can do 20 of these a year, and it's nothing. It's light. I'm the man. I'm a cool. I got my second shooters now, right? But it all takes that first step.
Right. That's it. That first step and just knowing, okay, but not even knowing, just
You
knowing
don't.
you're gonna take the first step and you don't know what's gonna happen,
You
but
don't
being
know.
okay with that.
You don't know. Like with businesses, like you try and you
Mhm,
fail. I mean, I'm trying to step into apparel and it's hard. It's hard.
mhm.
But I want to sell my shirts. I own the brand Blue, so I can sell
Yeah,
shirts with that too, right? So I want to do that. I have my own art, like photography. I have my own artwork. But
yeah.
so I'm still trying to learn more about that part of the industry, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Um and it all ties back to rap. Like I wanted Rockaway. I wanted to the Sean Johns of the world. That all inspired me. So
Yeah,
I'm still at the end of the day, I'm still the kid from Brooklyn who just loved rap music and everything rappers did.
right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And you just tied that in a nice little bow. Thank you.
Yeah. Nah.
Thank you.
That's the podcast side of me.
Yes, right? Yes, yes. Oh, but before I let you go, so this is
uh,
my wrap up. Before I let you go,
okay.
2 things. 1, where can everybody find you on these social media things we use these days?
I got the easiest Instagram in the world
Yeah.
at Blue, Blue. My YouTube is /Blue, but I'm definitely pushing Blue Dope. The
Okay.
podcast we're at on Instagram at Blue Dope TV,
Mhm.
bluedopetv.com. anywhere that you podcast. All you have to do is type in Blue Dope. If you want to hear Sharelle Rosado, type in Blue Dope Sharelle. It's going to come up, right?
Okay.
Et cetera, any of our guests. So it's I'm easy to find, always at Blue. Easy to find. I keep it private though. But my page is a public. Check me out, Blue. And Blue Pictorial for photography.
Okay.
Definitely have to separate things. People would be confused if it was all in one place. But Blue Pictorial for wedding photography, portrait photography, family photography, or
Yeah.
all the beautiful stuff to capture the moments for your whole life.
Love it. I love it. Thank you. Don't worry, everybody. All of that will go in the show notes. So you'll just be able to click easy. You'll have all of Blue's information. And then before I let you go, I must say to you that I acknowledge you, I celebrate you, and I uplift you.
Thank you. That's dope.
You're
That's
very
dope.
welcome.
And these are the type of shows I love. Like let's get it out there. Let's uplift one another. Let's get these stories out so the next person can really just take advantage of the gems that are dropped and put it into their own journey. I love that. So
Absolutely.
keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you, Ayana.
Please feel free to visit this episode's show notes for links to get in touch with my guest, as well as a link to rate and review my podcast on Podchaser. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is scroll down to the rate and review section. You can find and connect with me on Instagram at The Artist Pivot to see audiograms, fun facts, and posts featuring my guests. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to get notified when a new episode is out. And please share this episode with at least one friend. For those who are working on their mental health and well-being, on a journey of facing your fears, or trying therapy for the first time, our show sponsor BetterHelp is here to help you. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. BetterHelp makes professional therapy accessible and affordable with 20,000 plus therapists in their network, and the ability to request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. I have found that therapy is a tool to use to improve your life in one of the healthiest ways. So join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. So many people use BetterHelp that they are currently recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/artistpivot. That's betterhelp.com/artistpivot. Ever heard the phrase found time? Well, Audible helps you find the time to get more stories and information while commuting, cooking, gardening, exercising, etc. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests, as well as guided meditation programs. They have podcasts, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. Fun fact, if you listened to every title on Audible, you'd be listening for more than 3 centuries. So click the link in the show notes or visit audibletrial.com/theartistpivot to start your 30-day free trial of Audible and listen to that book you haven't read yet or laugh at a comedy special while doing the dishes. Again, that's audibletrial.com/theartistpivot. Using the link lets Audible know that we sent you and a great way to support the show. This episode was edited by Kieran Niemand and produced by me, Ayana Major Bay. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.